Working on several companies. We have a new other company called our Exotic Amulite Rejection Exotic Collection, which I'm going to be back in there working again because I have to do some work in there. And interesting, we're getting the art community is really taking an interest in that page because I said before, this is where we're going to have different colors, screen paints, some other cool projects we're working on for the art community for them to be able to advance, expand, and to be able to bring their dreams to life with our new technology, our color screen paint technologies. All right, and then on top of that, as you can see, the other company under Crystal Edge was converted to the Ambient Rejection Black Edge, which is going to have 3 new screen paints underneath that. Once I get situated, I have several things I need to do. As I said before, we can branch out and start looking for commercial. I want to get this done before summertime kicks in. Commercial, I want to get some showrooms rented, stuff like that. And I am getting a work facility. I am going to get myself some warehouse space. Warehouse space is pretty cheap up here. Um, Looking for a different place to live is another story. It's a little interesting. Once I get settled in, I'll explain to you everything I had to go through, but it was an interesting process. I'm used to renting houses. If you've seen the multiple houses I've lived in, jump from one to the next and next, extremely easy to do in Philadelphia. I mean, pretty much if you don't have the credit, you basically pay extra, and I have no problem with paying extra, but up here it's a little different process. So I got myself a broker to go in and look for properties for me and bring me back what I need and what I like, and I go from there. So since I have better decisions, I do want to be closer in the city, but I don't want to be exactly in the city, and I do need something with a backyard, which is extremely important. And I did find one, so I'm going to pay them 6 months in advance because I'm going to obtain it and take it. It's mine. I usually do that if I want something. I know that the average person, when they have to pay up front, it's going to pretty much gripe over that first, second, and third, but I'll come in and pay like 5 or 6 months in advance. And on top of that, I ain't gonna worry about paying rent for a while, which is good. But anyway, let's get back to this little topic we need to talk about here. Yesterday, we talked about why customers should go in and request tests for screen paint products, and they should. It's like the one thing when you think about it that's not really tested for real, for real. If you look at certified screens, they're all tested. Everything you have in your home theater room setup is tested. The only thing that's not tested is your screen paint. And that's a huge concern because you could get shipped anything in the mail. If I didn't have any tests, I could literally just go down, pick up black paint, stick it in the container, and send it over to you, and you wouldn't know the difference. That's why we have to have tests showing our products black versus black. So you can see that we can take black paint, which today I'm going to have time after I get done from the post office. I'm going to put up our history of all our tests versus black, which is quite a lot. That is going to be a good example for those of you that are making black paint. That's what you're going to have to go through, or black screen paint you're going to have to go through. Anyway, so they should ask that. How much flack did we get from it? Ooh, man, we got a lot. We got a lot of very angry people, but this was some customers. No customer in their right mind is going to get upset because a product has to be tested. There's no way in the world. Wait a minute. So it has to be tested first before I can buy it? Then I don't want it. No customer in the right mind is going to do that. A customer is going to ask, was it tested? Okay, that's what a customer is going to ask because that's the consumer. He's spending the money. He or she is spending the money at the end of the day, and they want to make sure the product does work. So the only people that would be angry over that are people that are actually making the product, and those that are testing don't really worry about that at all, period. And the other half that are not are upset and angry because they have to, and they should have been doing that from day one. Now, let's talk about those contrast levels. This is a part topic. I have quite a lot in a different form sites. And what I find funny about gray screens, these gray screen products out here, you do not see contrast. I know you definitely think you're seeing a contrast, but you're not. I got a basic contrast test for you. It's very easy. Take a black sheet of paper. You stick that against your screen and you pull a star field. I'll put a link at the bottom of the star field demonstration where you can actually attach it. And I hope to see this video today on live. Not pre-recorded, a live demonstration. The reason why we say this is because this is misconceiving to the customers when you have individuals using high-end projectors that produce a tremendous amount of darker shades of gray. They can't pick up black, only dark shades of gray. These are the same great products that can't even take on gunmetal technology. And gunmetals can pick up darker shades of gray, much darker shades of gray, but they don't pick up 100% black. That's why when we lay them against our screens, they turn a weird, strange color, like a kind of a light gray color, because they're not 100% black. So the simple test is, and for anybody out there, just for anybody, not just for people who make them, for anybody, does your screen see a 100% black level? How much of a black level can you actually see? And how you do that is you take a black sheet of paper, you put that right against your screen, and you throw a star field on, and you see what exactly happens. Now, mind you, we're not talking about lights off. We're talking about lights on. I've said this multiple times. Anytime anybody is testing the screen out and you're doing contrast levels, this must be done in as much light as possible. So that way the customer can see exactly what they're getting. If you're doing demonstrations with contrast levels in the dark constantly all the time to try to improve your contrast levels, then clearly this is where the customer is going to be at. The customer will also have to be in the dark also, sorry, in order to maintain and see these contrast levels. And majority of most people don't want to be there, especially if you're sporting an ultra short throw, because we all know the theory behind the ultra short throw. It's never meant to be a dedicated setup. It's not designed to be a movie theater setup. It's designed to be a set-top TV box for your living room, so you can have all your lights on. I think that's what the P2 was going for when they were doing the promo. If you notice, it wasn't stuck in the dark somewhere. Every demonstration was done in a more like family-like living room setting. And that's what you usually go for with ultra short throws. The majority of ultra short throw demonstrations I see are in the dark, but that involves ambient light rejection. We'll talk about that another time. But anyway, let's get back to these contrast levels. So again, you're not going to be to get, if you're a gamer out there, and if you are a gamer, you already know from the door the contrast is everything. You know that from the door. Even when you buy VR glasses have, let's say, have OLED lenses in them. People want that ultimate darkness. When it comes to OLED TVs, they want that ultimate darkness. It costs a lot of money, but that's what they want. So why the freak is your screen gray? Now, even though we are making a product called the Silver Patriot, we are going to have a massive amount of disclaimers in there. We're going to tell you that no, this is no way it's going to be to do exactly what the black screens can do. It's going to be this and that. It's all going to be in there. And you'll see the difference side by side on why we're telling you this. You're getting an outdated product. Even though the Silver Patriot will have the ability to be more advanced than the other gray screens out there, but still, it is considered to be outdated compared to the black technology that exists. You let me know the next time you pop over to a Best Buy that you see a floor model gray TV sitting there on the floor in RCA saying, hey, this is our newer model. You won't see that at all. Every screen you'll see in there is jet black. So you come home, you got a jet black monitor for gaming, you got a jet black TV in one room, your cell phone is jet black, and yet you go over to your projection screen and it's gray. You're outdated. So the point of this conversation is, and the test for everyone is, can your screen see 100% contrast? Especially, most importantly, without it costing you a lot of money. Can you see a 100% contrast level with a projector under 60 bucks, under 100 bucks, under 150 bucks? Can you do that without spending thousands of dollars for a projector, because it has to have an extremely high contrast level for you to pick up a darker shade of gray? Now, it's going to be pretty embarrassing for those of you who have these projectors that have these 2 million and 3 million and 4 million to 1 contrast ratios. And you're in a fully lit environment with that black sheet of paper laying against your screen. And when that star field comes on, you will see how much money they just wasted on a projector that they clearly bought because they thought the contrast levels were going to be able to produce, or that contrast ratio was going to be to produce that black level. You're going to see how much money you just lost. You literally just paid for a machine that the option that's in there you will never ever use. We get this conversation all the time. You know, there's a forum site for P2s. There is a special forum site for people who have those projectors. We go on there all the time. We tell them that the option 2 million to 1 that you paid for, number one, you're not seeing contrast, and number two, it's an option that you will never use. You literally just gave free money away. And when they say how, well, put it this way. If you have a white screen or a gray screen, you really think you're seeing a black level, but you're actually seeing a shade of gray. The darker you go up on the grays, the darker your shades of gray come up. Now you hit gunmetal territory, those are much darker screens, they pick up a much darker shade of gray, which gives you the illusion that you're actually seeing black, but you're not really seeing it. So you're not really still getting that 2 million to 1. It's not there, because that 2 million to 1 is designed to bring up a black level, not a gray level. And then once you finally hit our technology, which is a physical black screen, then what was the point of you having the 2 million one to begin with? That's an option you'll have to turn off because you're not going to need it. The screen's black. So you paid for something that you will never use. That's what happened. But keep in mind, when they designed the P2, they weren't banking that there was a black screen floating around out there somewhere. Because I'm pretty sure if they knew there was a black technology out there floating around out there somewhere, they wouldn't have put the money in for that projector. Clearly knowing that the screen would do the work. Now, for those of you who do not want to spend, and may not be able to afford to spend for a projector of 3,300 or 4,000 or 5,000, judging on its contrast level, you don't have to do this. You can use a projector with a 2,000 to 1, even 100 to 1, even with no contrast, and still achieve a contrast level that is far greater than 2 million to 1 because our screens are physically black. We're even more advanced by gunmetal. Now, just something to think about here. For gray screens out there, products, I know at the end of the day, you're fighting for your life, and you should, because it's going to get pretty rough the next couple of days for you. I want to be asking some questions that you should have been answering a long time ago with a bunch of mumbo jumbo on camera. I'm going to ask you some really hard-hitting questions about your products. Because keep in mind, I also have a history of developing gray screen paint products. So I know everything there is about your products. I know both worlds. So there's nothing you can't tell me at the end of the day about your gray product that I haven't done already. But the bigger question is that if you claim your products to be the best of the best, let's take us out of the equation. What about gunmetal technology? How do you compare to gunmetal technology? Can you produce a contrast level equal to gunmetal? Can you maintain their colors? Can you maintain their ambient light rejection technology? Can you do this? If you can't, then how are you on my level? Because we can take out gunmetal technology. We do it all the time. That's a wake-up call for you right there. That's why you don't see any demonstrations on these screens doing 9 screen demonstrations on certified screens. You don't even go near black diamond technology. That's why. Because those screens can literally see a contrast level. Not black, but they can pick up a darker shade of gray, much higher than the gray screen paint products. And that's why your product is obsolete. You're obsolete in the world of gunmetal, and in our world, you're definitely obsolete. So, little test for all of you out there, not just for them. Go down and get yourself a sheet of black paper. You stick that on your screen. Now, keep in mind, if you're going to go back and say, well, my screen picks up higher white levels, that's no rocket scientist at all, period. That theory right there. Please, everybody knows that. Don't do that. You embarrass yourself. Just stick to what I just said. Simple and plain. Because the reason why a black surface such like that is not going to be able to maintain next to any screen of a lighter color, because it doesn't have the ability to receive and understand white light. And if you don't believe me on that theory, well, you can go to my website and look at my test demonstrations that I can basically show off where other people can. And we have something called a black versus black test, where we test on just about any black surface we can get our hands on. And we can clearly show that our black technology, as dark as it is, can receive white light much higher than these black surfaces and things they have out there. So my theory about basically a screen not being able to receive white light, remain dark, one that can remain dark and see white light at the same time. But that's another topic on its own. I got to put my history page in before we talk about that one. But what we're talking about here is just contrast only. Because I'm pretty sure when you bought a projector with a 2 million to 1, you weren't thinking about, oh, this is going to heighten my white levels. No, you thought it was going to heighten your contrast and black levels. That's why you purchased it for that particular option that it has in there. All right, well, with that being said, glad we kept this short and sweet. Mouse is, there we go. Got to get to work. I'm finishing working on some stuff on the site right now. And that's the test we gave. We test for everybody, not just for people who make these great products. This is for everybody. If you feel that your screen is really seeing contrast as you think it is, then you should have no problem laying that black sheet of paper against your screen and pulling a star field. And mind you, this has to be done in a fully lit environment. If you are already having a problem with your gray screen being able to produce in a fully lit environment, you're already sitting in the dark because you're afraid to turn the lights on, then that's the first indicator that your screen does not work properly. I can't understand how people have 3,000, the most, well, lumen projectors now, 3,000 lumen projectors, 4,000 lumen projectors. Even if you have ultra short throw, mind you, an ultra short throw doesn't have to be 3,000 lumens to pick up. An ultra short throw can be 900 lumens. You're literally sitting right up on top of the screen. You don't have a distance throw. So you should automatically be able to pick up with ease with no problem. The fact that I see majority of ultra short throw projectors sitting in dark environments, it's not because it's a lumen issue, it's because the screen has a problem with poor and proper contrast and colors will wash out due to the environment. That's what happens. That's why we see a lot of y'all sitting in the dark. I think I'm going to activate my showroom page too, but we're going to put another page in here. That's the problem you're having. But you have to be, that's a simple test for everybody to do. If your screen can't see that star field correctly, it'll show you how bad your contrast levels are really actually coming in. It's not your projector's fault at the end of the day. I love how people blame the projector. Oh, they sit there and blame the projector from sun up to sundown. Oh, it's because it's not this, and because, it has nothing to do with your projector. Unless your projector's a knockoff, then yes, it's your projector. But if your projector's a name brand, I don't care how old the model is, it's not your projector. It's physically your screen. One of the funniest things I see when it comes to people who talk about calibration, which I find a big joke, is the fact that people will go out and they will upgrade their projector to fix the screen. They'll still be in the same boat. Just a little bit of an upgrade, just a little bit, not a lot. And then they'll go in and they'll spend more money and then they'll try to calibrate the colors to try to get the colors to come up correctly. But it's funny, people have calibrated projectors are sitting in the dark. Why is that? If you have a 3,000 lumen projector, you're sitting less than a foot away from a screen and you have to calibrate your colors in order to be able to see them correctly. And every time the lights come on, this fades even faster. So it only works if the lights are out. Then your calibrated colors work somewhat. But if you have the lights on, then your screen starts to wash out and fade. And what was the point of calibrating your projector to begin with? It's not your projector that's having the problem, it's your screen that's having the problem. Once you fix the screen problem, guess what? You don't have any more problems with color. Because you need a screen that's going to be able to maintain in a fully lit environment without deteriorating and washing out. This is where we get the ambient light rejection technology. This would be in our demo displays. Or basically, we have a page dedicated for that, don't we? We do have a page dedicated for ambient light rejection technology. Here we go, right there. We got a page for that. It's how easy. You can come into our website and you can pull up anything you want. Nothing's hidden from you. No lies, none of that. We have a page set up for ambient light rejection tests right here. These are the tests right here for ambient light rejection. We're going to talk about this tomorrow, about real ambient light rejection. So far, what you have to worry about when you're buying these products out here, if you are actually getting an actual screen paint or you're just paying for overpriced house paint. Now, we have a contrast issue. Is your screen actually seeing a 100% contrast level? Because if it's not, that means you're either going to spend a lot of money for a projector to try to fix it, or you're just going to sit in the dark. That's pretty much the only way it's going to fix your contrast levels. And again, after all that, you still can't see 100% black. Only black screens have that capability. Ambient light rejection technology, you do not possess it at all, period. You don't have it. If you can't do this, can't set that screen set next to that window, and you can't pull out an image that's crystal clear. You see how sharp my edges are? See how nothing fades out, nothing washes out? If you can't pull that off without your screen washing out, especially with a contrast level, if you can't pull that off, then that tells you right there, there's your screen has an issue. There's nothing wrong with your projector. And keep in mind, in my demonstrations, we didn't go spend money for $4,000, $5,000 projectors that had insane contrast. And we have old projectors. Our projectors date back from 2011 to 2012. They're old model projectors. So we can get a projector of 720p, that old, to fire off and look that incredible on the screen. There's nothing wrong with your projector. It's clearly your screen is having the issue. If I take that same projector and I stuck it against a gray screen paint or a white screen, I would have all kinds of issues. Contrast levels wouldn't pick up, screen would wash out. I definitely would have to darken those curtains. I would have to darken that environment. I would have to change that entire environment out to accommodate the screen because the screen can't maintain. But that's the topic for tomorrow. We're going to talk about real ambient light projection technology and what the customer, you, need to look for when you're shopping for a projection screen paint. And this is what I think we're going to talk about a lot when we do these once a day live streams. We're going to educate the customer on what the customer needs to look for and what they need to ask for. If they're not answering these questions, then guess what? You go someplace else. That's what you do. All right. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video demonstration. Thank you for your time. I got to go, and God bless.